Georgia's deep forests, its silent rivers, its moonless nights, and those forgotten backroads where even the wind seems afraid to breathe. Hidden in these shadows are stories you won't find in any history book. Stories so quiet that centuries have passed without disturbing their sleep, and others so restless that they claw their way back into the world every few years, sometimes rising from beneath dark lake water, sometimes whispering through the trees when the night grows too still. Tonight, we're taking you on a journey through the top 10 creepiest small towns in Georgia, a list where every stop grows stranger, older, and a little less human the deeper we go. So turn your lights down low, silence everything around you, because some stories are meant to be heard only in the dark. Number 10, Abercorn, the town that erased itself. If you ever drive along the Savannah River with your phone in hand, you might not even realize it. But you've just passed over a town that shouldn't exist, because technically it doesn't. Abercorn, a settlement so thoroughly erased that even history seems unsure whether it was ever truly there. When it began, the location looked perfect. A calm river for travel, fertile soil for farms, a promising route for trade, and a handful of settlers filled with hope, ready to build their futures. But the land had other plans. It whispered its first warning quietly, a sickness no one could name, something that spread fast, then disappeared just as mysteriously as it came. Then came the swamp-like humidity, the kind that clings to skin like a fever and turns nights into thick, breathless darkness, followed by floods, relentless, uninvited, almost purposeful, as if the river itself was pushing people away. Some settlers claimed they felt watched. Others spoke of nights where the forest fell too silent, where even the insects refused to sing. And slowly, a quiet dread settled over the town, a sense that something just wasn't right. No one knows exactly what broke the last of them, but families packed their belongings, one by one, and left without looking back. And Abercorn? It vanished, as if erased from the canvas of Georgia by an invisible hand. Today, nothing stands there except Abercorn Creek, and that strange, lingering feeling that an entire community once tried to live here, and the land simply swallowed them whole. Number 9, Petersburg, the town beneath the lake. If there's anything truly unsettling, it's a town that didn't just vanish. It drowned, and every now and then, it rises just enough to remind you it's still down there. Petersburg was once a thriving trading hub. Merchants hauled their goods in and out. Riverboats lined the docks, and the town pulsed with life. People built homes, families, dreams. The kind of place that felt permanent, but permanence is an illusion. When the massive Clark's Hill reservoir, now known as J. Strom Thurmond Lake, was created, the water swallowed the city piece by piece. Streets disappeared. Buildings vanished, and the town slipped silently beneath the surface. Today, if you're out on a boat lazily fishing in the still water, you might not realize that just beneath you, there were once roads where children ran, shops where people laughed, and houses filled with memories. But on certain days, when the water level drops just enough, the lake gives back fragments of what it stole. Stone foundations emerge like broken bones. Old streets appear as faint, ghostly lines beneath the mud. Walls, steps, chimneys, all rising briefly into the daylight, like a drowned map desperately trying to breathe. It's not just history. It's a living ghost town, suspended between two worlds, never fully gone, never fully alive. And every ripple on that lake feels like a reminder that an entire community still sleeps below your boat, and sometimes it wakes. Number 8, Frederica, smiling in daylight, watching you at night. Frederica, tucked away on St. Simon's Island, looks picture perfect at first glance. The breeze sways gently through the trees, the marshland glitters under the sun, and nothing, absolutely nothing, seems threatening. But then it hits you. This peaceful place was never meant to be peaceful. Frederica was built as a frontline town, a fortress settlement designed to watch, track, and if necessary, stop the enemy. British soldiers stationed here constantly scanned the horizon for Spanish troops. This wasn't a community born from hope. It was born from tension. And when the fighting stopped, Frederica's purpose dissolved. Families moved away, homes crumbled under the salt-filled coastal winds. Brick walls softened, roofs collapsed, and the town slowly hollowed out, until all that remained was a quiet shell of what once was. But the true unease doesn't come from the ruins. It comes from what stands just beyond them. Christ Church Cemetery, In daylight, it seems harmless, almost gentle. Weathered headstones leaning toward the trees, shadows dancing softly across the grass. But at night, the air changes. Visitors whisper about lights flickering for no reason, as if someone unseen is playing with them. There are footsteps, steady, deliberate, even when the path behind you is completely empty. Some swear they've felt a presence standing just inches away, watching, waiting, never moving, never speaking. Frederica isn't just a location, it's a feeling. Calm on the outside, restless underneath, like a quiet smile hiding something that only wakes after dark. Number 7, Hardwick, a capital that never was. Some towns are born, some towns die. But Hardwick never even had the chance to exist. Back in the 1750s, people spoke of it with ambition in their voices. This was supposed to be the future powerhouse of the region. A deep-water port, a bustling center of trade, a rising political capital. The plans were drawn, the dreams were big, and the expectations were enormous. But fate had other ideas, and it laughed. The port never materialized. Trade routes bypassed it. Settlers trickled in, then trickled right back out. And when Hardwick lost its status as the county seat in 1797, it was like watching a candle struggle for one last flicker, and then go out. By 1824, only one person remained, one man, an entire would-be city reduced to a single beating heart, wandering through empty streets that were never fully built. Hardwick isn't creepy because of ghosts. There are no legends of hauntings, no shadows lurking in abandoned houses. Hardwick is unsettling because of what isn't there. It's the void. The silence. A vast echoing emptiness where a city was supposed to rise, and simply didn't. Standing there, surrounded by nothing but the memory of a dream that never lived. You can't help but wonder, is this what happens to every place? Once it loses its purpose, does every forgotten town eventually fade into this quiet, endless nothing? Number 6, Jacksonboro, the town that was cursed. Curses are nothing new in Southern folklore, but few are as infamous or as unsettling as the curse of Jacksonboro. The story begins with a traveling preacher named Lorenzo Dow, a fiery, eccentric man who wandered from town to town delivering sermons. When he arrived in Jacksonboro, the townspeople didn't welcome him. In fact, they mocked him, chased him out, and refused him shelter. Humiliated and furious, Dow stopped at the bridge just outside town, turned back toward Jacksonboro, and declared, "This place will be destroyed. Everything will fall, except one house." Then time took over. Slowly, quietly, the town began to unravel. The politics dried up, trade routes shifted, and business collapsed. Families packed their wagons and left. Storms, fires, and misfortune chipped away at whatever remained. One building after another disappeared, until only a single structure was left standing. The Goodall House, perfectly intact, just as the curse had foretold. Is the legend true? Or did coincidence wear the mask of prophecy? No one can say for certain, but if you stand in Jacksonboro today, surrounded by empty land where a town once lived, and see that lone house staring back at you, the silence feels heavier than any verdict a court could deliver. It's as if the land itself remembers what happened, and hasn't forgiven it. Number 5, Sunbury, the port that was quieted by the sea. Sunbury was once a bustling port, so confident in its future that some said it could rival Savannah itself. Ships lined its docks, merchants shouted over the clatter of goods, and the air was thick with the smell of salt water and ambition. But then, as if time itself had turned its hourglass upside down, the town's fortune began to slip. Wars tore through the region. Deadly illnesses crept silently through its streets. Trade routes shifted, leaving the port stranded and struggling. Slowly, the noise faded, and the town wrapped itself in silence. Today, Sunbury is no longer a thriving port. All that remains are scattered cemeteries, crumbling tombstones, and the whisper of the coastal wind that seems to carry fragments of voices from a long-forgotten past. There are no ghouls here, no apparitions lurking behind broken doors. Sunbury is haunted by something far heavier, its own vanished greatness, the memory of streets that once hummed with life, now quiet, empty, and mournful. Stand there for long enough and you begin to feel it, as if the town itself remembers the prosperity it lost to the sea and refuses to let the story go. Number 4, Wrightsboro, the Quaker town that disappeared in slow motion. Wrightsboro was founded by Quakers, peaceful, devout settlers who dreamed of building a quiet, orderly community, a place where life moved slowly, where faith guided every decision, and where neighbors cared for one another. But perhaps that was the town's first mistake. During the Revolutionary War, the entire country was picking up arms, but Wrightsboro wanted nothing to do with fighting. Its people clung to peace, and slowly the world around them moved on. Families left, institutions crumbled, and the town, once alive with intention and hope, began to fade, as if the trees themselves were swallowing it, branch by branch, leaf by leaf. Today, only a handful of old structures remain. A few gravestones lean under the weight of centuries, and in the quiet wind there is a whisper, a lingering message that sometimes being good isn't enough, and if the old tales are to be believed, the nearby rock house adds a modern layer of unease. Strange voices drifting through the night, shadowy figures glimpsed between the trees, and that eerie, impossible stillness when the forest itself seems to hold its breath. Wrightsboro isn't just a lost town. It's a ghost of intention, a reminder that even the best-laid plans can vanish slowly, quietly, and leave only whispers in their place. Number 3, Ebenezer, the prayer that history interrupted. The story of Ebenezer is a story of faith, hope, and heartbreak. Founded by German-speaking Protestant refugees, the town was built with discipline, vision, and a determination to thrive on the edge of the Georgia frontier. They established schools, built early industry, and erected churches, among them the Jerusalem Lutheran Church, still standing today as a stubborn testament to the lives and dreams of those who came before. But history has a way of bending even the strongest intentions. Wars tore through the region, politics shifted, economic pressures mounted, and slowly the town emptied, its streets fading into silence. Yet the darkest mark on Ebenezer's memory is not from gradual decline. It is the Ebenezer Creek tragedy of 1864. Hundreds of newly freed people followed the Union Army, seeking refuge and freedom, but as they crossed the swollen creek, the pontoon bridge was abruptly removed by orders of Union General Jefferson C. Davis. The waters rose, trapped, desperate, terrified. Hundreds, maybe more, drowned. This is not a legend whispered in the night. It is history with teeth, a wound carved deep into Georgia's memory. Today, Ebenezer is more than a ghost town. It is a silent scream held in the arms of the river, where the water itself seems to remember the lives it could not save. Walk along the creek long enough and you begin to feel it. A weight, a quiet presence, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. Number 2, Aurea, the gold town that aged before its time. Aurea. Just the name alone evokes wealth, ambition, and destiny, and at first that promise was real. This was the town where the earth first gifted its golden dust into human hands. People poured in from miles around. Settlements sprang up overnight. Shops opened, streets bustled, and everyone dreamed of striking it rich. The air was bright with hope, and the townspeople's hearts raced with possibility. But gold has a rule. The day it gives you wealth, it takes something in return. Aurea learned this lesson too late. Those who arrived as princes of fortune soon looked old before their time. Faces grew weary, eyes clouded with unease. At night, strange shivers ran through the streets, sounds that no one could explain. Some said there was something deep beneath the town, down in the tunnels, past the shafts where miners vanished. Whispers, footsteps, breaths that weren't human. Sometimes it felt as if the very ground beneath them was alive. Then the accidents began. Tunnels collapsed. People disappeared without a trace. And the most chilling part? Those who returned were not the same. Their voices changed. Their eyes changed. And some swore, down there, they were never alone. Gold ran out. People left. And in just 30 years, Aurea aged beyond recognition. A town once bursting with life reduced to ruins. Today, Aurea's remains are more than just debris of old wealth. They are a warning. Some treasures come at too high a price, and some voices should never escape the earth. Number 1, New Savannah. The town the river tried to keep. And now we arrive at the creepiest, most mysterious, and eerily alive town on our list, New Savannah. Once this was a bustling river port. Most of the townspeople worked in lumber and trade. The streets were busy, money flowed, life pulsed with energy. But then the river began to change. The Savannah River slowly altered its course, its currents eroding the soil beneath the town. Foundations cracked, streets sank. One day the ground seemed stable. The next, hollow cavities opened beneath houses. And the water? It would rise overnight, swallowing homes, and retreat by morning, leaving a quiet emptiness in its place. It wasn't just flooding, it was occupation. The river was reclaiming what had once been its own. And then something happened that would forever mark New Savannah as cursed. As erosion revealed the riverbed, old burial grounds emerged. Graves, bones, remnants of people who had been laid to rest and should have remained untouched. The locals whispered, "The river kept its secrets. We disturbed them." And the town paid the price. Slowly families left. Houses decayed under the constant threat of water and erosion. The streets fell silent. Evenings brought a thick, oppressive hush, broken only by the water's strange, heavy movements, as if something massive stirred beneath the surface. Today, when the water is low, fragments of the old town resurface. Foundations peek through the riverbed, corners of houses, and the haunting outlines of long-forgotten graves. It's as though the town itself is breathing, rising for a fleeting moment, before sinking back under the river's cold grip. New Savannah isn't just a drowned town. It is a river cemetery, a reminder that some places are meant to stay buried, and some stories are guarded by the water itself. And there you have it. 10 small towns in Georgia, each with a story that time tried to erase, but couldn't fully silence. From Abercorn, the town that vanished without a trace, to New Savannah, swallowed by the river yet still breathing beneath the water, these are not just places on a map. They are echoes of lives once lived, hopes once built, and dreams that the earth refused to keep. Some vanished quietly, leaving only whispers in the wind. Some were taken by water, gold, or history itself, and some left behind a lingering presence, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. Next time you drive down a back road or stand by a quiet river, or wander among old cemeteries, look closer. Listen, because you never know, the ground beneath your feet might still be holding a story, a secret, or even a ghost. Georgia's lost towns are more than just history. They are lessons in impermanence, reminders of the fragility of human ambition, and proof that sometimes silence is louder than any noise we can make. So whether you're drawn to the mysterious, the historical, or the simply haunting, remember this. The next town you pass by might be hiding more than you ever imagined. And if you enjoyed this journey into Georgia's forgotten corners, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because there are more stories out there, and the shadows of history are always waiting to tell them.